Hey everyone, so this is just some new content that I'm going to be filming. We're going to try out some workout vlogs on YouTube. So today, this is just a lower body workout that I did. This is some quad pumps that I'm doing. This works on a bit of flexibility in the hamstring, but mainly trying to get blood and full range of motion through the knee joint. So getting full extension and full flexion. So I'm going to be discussing some of the things I'm doing and why I'm doing them. These are really good. You can do them in the morning or at night, especially if you're feeling stiff. It's a good way to get movement throughout the day and get that knee through a full range of motion quite easily. 20 reps is pretty solid. I get a pretty good burn after 20 reps, but you could also do a time-based one as well, depending on what your goal is. Transitioning from this, we're doing some Achilles and direct knee work. So here we've got some calf raise holds, just mainly focusing on getting that tendon to be nice and strong, that Achilles tendon. And here we've got a wall sit with the heels off the ground, pushing through the toes to really, again, engage that soleus and that calf muscle with the quads, get some blood through those tendons. Next, I have this plyometric, very extensive, very basic. This is mainly focusing on strengthening that tendon and getting it used to being behind the body and behind the hip and producing power. This is often a spot where Achilles tears happen, so it's good to be strong in this particular position. You can also load this and do a variety of things with this, but I'm starting off super basic body weight, very light, springy hops, not forcing too much. So after this, I'm just grabbing a medicine ball. This is something that I've been just mucking around with at the moment, but holding a squat and doing external and internal rotations while squatting. So kind of loading internal rotation a little bit. Some people might think this is bad, but I think in sport, oftentimes we do get exposed to these internal rotated positions. So being strong is important. Next part here, I've just got some single leg hopping. This is just some more plyometric work, a little bit more intense. I did do 2 sets here, but I only filmed the first one. My second set, I did get deeper into my knee joint as well, taking the load off the calf as much. These are really great though, hopping, great for coordination. It's great for building a bit of plyometric resiliency as well in our tendons and muscles and getting our body to be able to contract and relax better. As you can see, my left foot probably doesn't look as good as my right, but that will happen to everyone. They'll have one foot that performs a little better. Next, I've got a barbell complex. So this, pretty basic, nothing crazy, but first thing I'm doing is an RDL into a bent over row. Sometimes I'll just do an RDL or sometimes I'll just do a bent over row, but basically this complex, I just put together a bunch of exercises. The goal is the bar cannot touch the ground once you start. That being said, I did do some shoulder press afterwards with this because I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it with the 40 kilos. My shoulder press is not crazy, but here we've got some shrugs. So this is just warming up the whole body. It's adding a little bit of extra volume to each muscle group, but really it's just teaching better movement patterns. Here I've got some cleans. You can definitely tell I'm not the best at doing cleans, but I enjoy doing them and I like having them in to kind of groove that movement pattern, try and get better at them over time. So as you can see, I'm not getting super low. The weight's not super heavy, so I'm really trying to emphasize that shrug and that upper body pull. So it's, I guess you could call it almost more of a muscle clean. After this, I'm moving into front squats. Now, the main lift of today is going to be a box squat, so you will notice that there is a bit of squatting just to warm up the muscle and really warm up that movement pattern as well. So I didn't film the shoulder press, but I did do some, so complexes are great. Here I'm doing some Zercher squats. This is the warm-up right before my sets, so heels elevated. Because I'm doing partial range of motion for the box squat, I want to try and work on some full range of motion stuff still, so taking that knee through that full range under a little bit of load. Only about 50 kilos on the bar here. As you can see, I do change my tempo up a little bit. I decide to really kind of sit in that bottom part with a nice pause. And I just kind of went until I had a good burn in those legs to get them warmed up. So here's my first set of box squats, 60 kilos. The goal here is more strength speed work, so I am trying to load it up heavier over time. This is week 1 of doing this, so I didn't want to push it too far. So second set's coming in. This is my first working set. This is 90 kilos now. So the main thing that you should be thinking about is intent with this, lifting with intent. So don't try and, just because it's like heavy or whatever and you're going slower, don't think about that. Think about really driving that weight up as fast as you can. That's what's going to really contribute to an improvement in your vertical jump. So as you can see here, I'm doing about 4 reps. Now, I am just kind of doing the eye test, or in this case, the feel test. So if it doesn't feel very good, then I'll cut it down to maybe 3 reps or 2 reps, depending on how the first couple of reps feel. So here we've got 100 kilos now. So this should be, pretty easy. This is getting not too close towards my max for a box squat. So as you can see, the bar is still coming up pretty fast, which is the main thing. So the earlier sets might be slightly more speed strength, but as we get heavier and heavier, it will definitely become more strength speed. Next set, we're going to 105. Rest is really important here, so I'm resting for about 2 minutes between the sets, but depending on how long it takes, a bit longer. Now, if you're training for hypertrophy or muscle growth, this might not be ideal, but when you're training for strength and power, you do need longer rest times to ensure that you're still lifting the weight optimally and fast. That's the main key, being able to bring your best to each set. My last set here is going to be at 110, so decently heavy, nothing crazy. Next week I'll keep trying to up the weight and really try and start to push towards that strength speed. Not too far into maximal strength though. So I love a box squat, especially at the moment. As I said, my focus is more on my skill work. So my box squat, it's really helping to maintain strength. It's a little bit more specific because these knee angles and hip angles are more similar to what I would jump with. So it's a little bit more specific than maybe what I would have done in the past couple of months, but because the focus is bar squat, that's why. Next thing, I've got these contract relax lunges now. I don't know if you've seen these before, but these are awesome. So basically in sport, a lot of the time, the best athletes are ones that can go from 0 to 100 really quick. And so in this, the goal is to contract and relax. So when you stand up, you're relaxed, and then you drop the weight and you contract and you quickly grab it and reverse out of that position. So I think these are really good for deaccelerative strength. And I do these for time. So I'm doing these for 20 seconds here. Next thing, these are just some ankle circles. I do these at the end of every lower body workout, mainly just to get the ankles moving through a full range of motion. I've had ankle problems myself in the past, so really trying to get the ankles moving optimally can definitely help with athleticism. For my core here, I'm doing some dragon flags, mainly eccentric. Again, this is something that I'm not perfect at yet, and I'm building up. A lot of my training, I have my main exercises that I want to get a stimulus out of, but then I have something like this, which is more of like a skill. It's still an exercise, and I get sore from this as well in my core, for sure, but I'm more training the skill component of it currently. So I did 3 sets here. I only filmed 2. First set I just did purely eccentric. Second set I started to try and muck around with concentric reps, but trust me, it's super hard and difficult for sure. So this is where I started to try and muck around with concentric. I think I got like 3 or 4 reps, and you can kind of see that I try to pause halfway and completely fail. And that is completely okay to fail in your lifts. Don't stress about that. But that's all of the workout for now, so enjoy.